Autophagy is the body's built-in recycling program, quietly repairing and renewing from the inside out. It comes alive during fasting, when the body is forced to turn inward for resources instead of relying on the constant stream of food. That's why intermittent fasting has become the darling of health enthusiasts. It extends those hours of emptiness, letting cells clean house, patch up mitochondria, and run like a well-oiled machine. But then comes the traditional idea of breakfast, the cheerful morning ritual loaded with cultural and nutritional weight, and suddenly the system gets hilariously complicated. On paper, intermittent fasting looks like a ticket to autophagy heaven. In practice, a warm plate of eggs, fruit, and coffee has a way of making science feel less urgent than surviving the morning commute with your sanity intact. Comparing the two approaches is almost like staging a friendly boxing match between long-term maintenance and short-term performance. Intermittent fasting throws the first punch. By delaying breakfast, insulin levels stay low, nutrient sensors go quiet, and autophagy switches on, sweeping away damaged proteins and reducing cellular clutter. Studies in animals and growing evidence in humans suggest this process supports metabolic flexibility, reduces inflammation, and may even add healthy years to life. In other words, fasting whispers to your body, "Relax, we'll repair everything while you take it easy." Traditional breakfast, however, comes bouncing into the ring with its own arsenal of advantages. Glucose to wake up your brain, protein to preserve muscle, fiber to feed your microbiome, and nutrients to stabilize mood and energy. It's like the upbeat coach yelling, "Eat now, think sharper, feel better, and don't bite your coworkers before 10 a.m." Both sides make excellent points, which is why the contradiction feels less like a fight and more like a sitcom. From a scientific standpoint, the difference is largely about timing. Autophagy is sensitive to nutrient availability. Eating, even something small, sends a signal that resources are plentiful, which temporarily suppresses the cleanup. But that suppression isn't permanent. Once insulin and nutrient levels dip again, the janitorial crew returns. So if you follow intermittent fasting and delay your first meal until late morning or noon, you extend the autophagy window. If you prefer traditional breakfast, you still get autophagy later in the day or overnight. It just pauses during the hours when your brain is busy running on the fuel you gave it. The body is adaptable, switching between repair and energy modes without drama. The real comedy comes in daily life. Imagine autophagy as a quiet janitor humming along in the early morning, sweeping up damaged proteins, when suddenly breakfast bursts in with a stack of pancakes and shouts, "Party's here!" The janitor drops the broom, rolls his eyes, and retreats to the corner, waiting for the feast to end. Hours later, when the plates are cleared, he picks up the mop and starts again, muttering about how humans can't make up their minds. And yet, both roles matter. Without the janitor, the building falls into disrepair. Without the party, everyone is too tired to show up in the first place. This is why the fast or feast paradox isn't something to stress over. It's more of a balancing act. If you thrive on intermittent fasting, you might enjoy the focus, the metabolic benefits, and the idea that your cells are getting their much-needed spa time. If you can't function without breakfast, you're not ruining your health. You're simply choosing to prioritize immediate brain power and stable blood sugar, while trusting autophagy to take its turn later. In fact, alternating between the two, fasting some mornings, eating others, might be the most natural pattern of all, mirroring the way humans historically lived with feast and famine rhythms. So intermittent fasting and traditional breakfast aren't enemies. They're two different tools in the same toolbox. One gives your cells a long-term tune-up, the other fuels your day, so you don't trip over your shoelaces. The contradiction is funny only because both claim to be the best when really they work best together, depending on context. Some mornings you want autophagy's silent repair crew. Other mornings you want a loud, energizing breakfast cheer squad. Either way, the body adapts and you still get both health and humor. After all, longevity may come from polished mitochondria, but joy often comes from buttered toast.